Here's Sigurd Neubauer now, Middle East analyst, joining us from our Washington News Centre. Let's go with the positives first of all, shall we? The fact that they've got there, the fact that it's happening, the fact that Sweden is hosting talks, it's something, isn't it?
It absolutely is. In fact, just getting the parties to leave Yemen and traveling to Sweden is a diplomatic achievement in itself. I would even add it's a diplomatic victory, because we have seen that the UN Special Envoy, Martin Griffin, has over the past several months and weeks in particular spearheaded shuttle diplomacy between Sanaa, Muscat, Riyadh, and even Washington. And it is important for our viewers to understand that the chief negotiator for the Houthis is based in Muscat, Oman, where he maintains regular diplomatic contact with U.S. diplomats. So the United States has a clear understanding of what the Houthis want and what some of the issues that they would be willing to compromise on. So the first step, now that they are meeting in Sweden tomorrow and beginning talks, that it is in itself is an important achievement that should not be underestimated.
Obviously, everything's not going to be solved at one set of talks after 4 years of war and such mistrust and hatred, I'd almost say, between the sides. Is perhaps what Hashim suggested the first step? At least stop the violence, at least get the humanitarian aid people to those who need it, and that will at least give a chance to talk diplomacy.
Yes, I think that going into the talks, what the Houthis likely would prefer is to engage in conversations focusing on prisoner swaps, whereas the Arab coalition would likely want the talks to focus on the Houthis seizing or giving up their control of the port of Hudaydah and let the port be managed by the United Nations, so that the humanitarian supplies coming into the country, and Hudaydah is the only port which is open because the Arab coalition has put a blockade on the entire Yemen. So that's the only port that is available to accept humanitarian aid, and it's controlled by the Houthis. So that is where some of the wrangling will take place, whether or not they will be able to find a solution on how to manage or who should manage the Hudaydah port. That will be one point. I think that the real trap for both sides at this moment in time is that just because Saudi Arabia has been weakened over the Khashoggi affair does not mean that it will necessarily agree to demands by the Houthis. And the Houthis and the Saudis should be very careful of not adhere to maximalist positions, even though the international environment is very fragile.
Sigurd Neubauer, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.